Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and I am at the moment doing two things at once. Today is, so check me out as I go.
Yeah.
Today is the solstice, and it is, I'm typing at the same time, so please forgive me. It is December 21st, 2019, and I am joined by my gal pal posse to do a hashtag quantum tool alert with BZ, Lisa, and myself. And it is how to stand. And BZ, I'm going to capitalize stand. And the next word is for, and then I'm capitalizing you. Because for me, this is there's a distinction for me in that. So I just hit the live button. So we should be live now because it's saying preparing, but it's been my experience. That's why we start recording first.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are just joining us, I will repeat what I just said because I never know exactly when this thing is going live. This is hashtag quantum tool alert on Conscious Conversation Central with BZ Rieger and Lisa Flamino Rush. We are live today, so I hope you're joining us. Feel free to ask questions as we go and whatnot. This is the second one that we did. There was a first one. These came in as nudges for BZ that she wanted to share with us, and we decided to do them live.
It's always good to be alive.
Yes.
So Sheila's either conquering or she's frozen.
Yeah, I'm frozen too, so I'm going to do the same. I heard you.
All right.
Up here.
Yeah, because I have to have my tablet going so that I can see the chat.
I don't.
Rainbow Angel has joined us. Thank you so much. I see that there are 3 folks watching, so please feel free to let us know who you are, where you're watching from, if you so desire. And
what part of the world?
Yeah, and if you have any questions as we go along, because I'll be checking the chat and reading the questions out. So, BZ, this was your nudge, and I know that it's in the middle of your work there, or early, really, for you over there on the West Coast. So talk to us. Tell us, give us some quantum tools, because I know you got some, and I know Lisa has some to share for this
well,
too.
Standing for you, it's, I think there was a place in the one CCC we did a little bit ago, the last CCC regular, not live, that we did. You're talking about standing up for yourself.
Right, that was something I brought up. I use that terminology, standing up for myself, and you were very clear that it is that, but it's more than that, right?
Or it's totally different than that.
Okay. So, yeah.
Well, stand up for yourself is linear, and stand for you doesn't come from your mind. It comes from your heart. And you can stand for, I mean, there are many times where I stand for Sheila or I stand for Lisa. When I was doing my coaching business, I would stand for my client. And so it's from a purely open, fully connected place, and it's from a heart-centered place. You're not thinking. So standing up for yourself, just because someone asked me, kind of using that thing, what's the difference? Well, oftentimes, if you're standing up for yourself, it's like you're not, someone's kind of doing you wrong. Someone's saying, oh, you're not this, you're not that, or you're not. And
it's a defensive point.
Yes, and you're standing up for yourself. No, I am too, or, blah, 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 right?
Right.
And so that's, you can feel it. That's all mind. And there's an attachment to it. You're wrong, I'm right. It's this battling kind of stuff. And so, okay, that's interesting. So one of the distinct energetic vibrational differences is if you think of observing and noticing.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're observing, you might be categorizing, you might be cataloging, you might be looking at things because you're observing. Oh, you're observing that the water's really rough today, or you're observing, around here. Wow, the bank of the river is a lot lower than the top of the water. Which is happening right now because the top of the water is here and the bank is down here. So when you're noticing, you're simply taking it in, and you're actually connecting with it. So if you stand for you, it's a feeling of being all in coherence with you, in connection and in flow with you. And one of the things that was part of the nudge is that you can divide it out. So you in the shirt is beginning to play with standing for you. You are standing for you in the shirt, right? And then all of you, if you separated them out that way, all of you is standing for you.
Well, see, I'd forgotten that portion of our conversation from before. And as you were sharing that just now, I want to point out very clearly that I can see now with, that hindsight 2020, where in other words, it's an alchemical epiphany for me at this moment, where what I've felt but couldn't put words to in regards to what we are doing in this co-creative conscious community that Lisa, Albert, and I are in the midst of setting templates for. And that is, I can very clearly see where Lisa has stood for me on a lot of things, in that, while the little me is all going, right? And Lisa's like, okay, well, now, hold on. Well, she's never said that, but that's the way it feels, right? She said to me one time, why don't we just get in the swing? That was standing for me.
Yeah.
When I wasn't able to stand for myself. It wasn't advice. It wasn't, right?
That's right.
It wasn't.
That's right. So let me stop you right there. Okay, so you said it wasn't advice. So advice is a linear thing. Advice is well, opinion-based to a large extent, right?
Could be considered interference, or what was that?
I mean, it just has a different frequency to it.
Right.
Than standing through. They're totally different. There's no attachment, none whatsoever. Zip, nada, it's not anywhere near the stratosphere of standing for you, meaning you, or standing for Lisa, or if I'm standing for Sheila, right?
Right. Well, let me just
and
say,
someone just said, well, if you're not attached to it, meaning, like somehow you like them or you're convinced about it, then how can you stand for them? Because they're not different. You might be sticking up for them, but then you're pushing an agenda.
Well, that I will tell you that's that thing about attachment was a little bit difficult for me, not gonna lie. Because I just, you can think you're not attached, and I'm using this right here. Because you can think you're not attached to something, and you can say you're not attached to something, but it still translates. What?
They said she did it live on a number of videos.
I have done it. I finally saw it one day, though. You see what I'm saying? It has to be an alchemical epiphany.
Yes, you have to see it. That's the noticing again.
Yes.
Yeah, and once you notice it and acknowledge it, now you have the power to change it.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing is that, I was carrying around this idea that, oh, I'm having, this is in my head. Nobody, nobody knows what I'm thinking.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Or do they?
Good luck
all
with that.
is frequency, even thoughts, and they can be felt. I saw it for myself one day. Okay. I saw it for myself today. I was one day I was holding a specific frequency when I was sharing something, and then I had an alchemical epiphany and I saw it. I saw and it had to do with Jasmine. I've talked about this before. We talked about this on camera before. I was holding something in a particular way and saying, okay, well, that's for you and this is for me, right? I had this whole thing going on and it still was in my field. It was in my field. I had an attachment I couldn't see or feel at previous to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that certainly wasn't standing for anyone,
No.
including myself.
No, I was standing for attachment.
Hey, and she was good at it.
Yeah, but she had big pom
You
poms.
are so good. Think of that. And, the amount of pain and suffering or, the perceived pain and suffering, when you use that same amount of power towards something that you really want to experience, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. It's a superpower. Even how awful I made my life was super powerful.
Right? Exactly correct. It's like the difference in the overall feeling and frequential. And until it's no longer an intellectual exercise. Once and I didn't get that either, by the way, ladies. When you guys talked about that, I was like, oh, okay, what the hell? What is that? What is an intellectual exercise? Oh, I know now.
It's where a lot of beings, it used to be most, and it's not quite that high anymore, but a lot of beings spend most of their time. Because as soon as something comes along for you to stand for you, to be in your center, to be in your heart about it, and you go, well, no, you just a minute ago you just said we're all one. Okay, except for that. No, except for that. No, except for that. Right? Or I just peace and love and all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, except for them.
Right.
No, they don't get it either.
No, that's right. They don't deserve it. Now, there's a lot of that going around too.
Right. They don't get the love. They don't get all peace and love, but they don't get the love.
Right. Based on what they've done. There's a lot of that too.
Well, it's an intellectual exercise. That's what I'm saying. It's a construct that you're holding, and you're all shaking your pom poms rah rah for it until you're not standing. You could use this on that. You're not standing for that concept, the frequency of the truth of what you're claiming to be in coherence with.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes, it is a very good way to put that. And I want to share too, I'll direct folks back to a DIY ascension that Lisa and I did where we were sharing a specific incident that took place in this house where Lisa stood for Lisa. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of what took place there, because, in that particular incident, it was something where Lisa didn't want to disappoint me, but to not disappoint me would be to not stand for Lisa.
Right.
And what transpired was so beautiful, because as Lisa stood for her, I actually got to see and feel something that then became a very huge alchemical epiphany for me. And so this is another reason why I feel as though if we move only towards that which our heart desires in every moment of now, what it does is free everyone up to be able to do the same.
Right.
That's the beauty of that. And I think that's the way it's supposed to work. And that's how we all got a little off track. I mean, I get it that it was, you know, on all those different levels, there were reasons for them. And I'm not going to dispute that. And I think they've worked perfectly for what they were meant to do. But
I want to rattle off a couple of examples, a little bit. You just gave one example of standing for you or not standing for you. Then you can use it either way. You need the picture.
Right.
So, if you're thinking that you're small, you're not standing for you. You and the shirt is not standing for you, and you're actually blocking, thwarting because it's free will. You're not allowing and connecting that source connection and soul connection to stand for you. If you're in the place of, well, they won't let me, or this was done to me, or I'm not allowed to, right? Then you're standing for you. And sometimes sometimes it could seem more nuanced, more complicated than that. It really isn't. That's just the perceived thing that we throw up as a way to continue to not stand for the you, which is whoever it is that you are, because we're source. We're kick-ass creator beings, and we're coming back around to coming into coherence of that truth, and fully aligning into, right, that frequency of that. When you stand for you, life is cosmically delicious. The feeling that you have is so resonant and so rich and so off the charts delicious. And there's someone who's kind of chuckling, going, okay, but I know there's going to be a thing that I'm not going to like to what you just said. Yes, because sometimes the out there may look like it's chaotic, or may look like you've been dropped to your knees, right? And it's a perceived difficult situation. Yes, absolutely, can be the case. But nonetheless, when you shift and move to standing for you, you can unravel that. You can clean up the past co-creation and shift that. And even that's a terrific time to be standing fully for you, because in the most difficult of times, when the programmed and complicit predilection, of the just regular human would be, that I'm small, or that they're doing this to me, or I'm a victim, or whatever. When you shift and you stand for you, no matter what is the perception of what's going on out there, right, that you're involved in, it shifts, and now you know that you're not small, and you know that you're not just this person here and only lives a few years, and life's hard, and then you die. So all of that. So your then perception, you can then step into more of a expanded consciousness awareness level, and both are accurate. You could say, well, right now this sucks, this is painful, and hey, someone just cut off my arm, and wow, now I have an arm and a half, and what am I going to do with that, right? And that could be absolutely accurate as the total sum total of your life as that being in that moment. That could be absolutely accurate. I mean, only say could be, because if they didn't actually cut your arm off, then it isn't accurate. at the same time, when you're standing for you, that is one experience at that moment that you are dancing with, playing with, working through. And you're eternal, and you're a kick-ass creator being, and you may have been, you know, in another embodiment or not quite an embodiment doing the arm cutting off to somebody else, just using that thing. So it puts a different, you know, from a very linear perspective, it puts a very different color on something. So, for example, if I'm looking at in front of me, I see lots of different things. There's a window there, there's slider doors there. I can see different things around me. But if all I could see, and I'm just now putting my hand on the edge of this little tiny laptop, right? Yeah. If that's all I could see, then my whole world would consist of a black screen. There's a kind of a gray bar at the top. I can see a little blue icon, a red icon. I can see 3 pictures. I can see a little window of what's in. There's a joy room window, and then there's another joy room window. That joy has, you know, more colors in it. This one is this, right? I can see there's little icon things and more color and thing, and on the bottom of that. And then if I go to this plane, you know, so the bottom part of this is my world. I can see little squares, what they have. Gee, that looks like letters, because I learned that that's what are labeled. And that's it. This is all there is. This box, which is mostly black, a little bit of color here and there, and that's it. When I stand for me, I tune into all of the rest, not only in outside the line that I just described, that's the laptop, right? I can see the colors, I can see living things, I can see all the things that my linear eyes can see. Then my sensory array can pick up everything else. I mean, I'm in galaxies. So it changes everything.
Absolutely everything. You're right.
It paints a completely different picture.
I want to go back to what you were saying about, you know, the perception of being on your knees, right? Something's happened and now you're, you know, right? You were talking about that.
Yeah.
Perception of something happened. For me, I know what that is now. You know, we've talked about this before. There is a portion of me that's set up what it would like to, it desires to experience in this life. This is my feeling about my consciousness, is what I'm saying. And I recognize that, you know, shit happens, is the old saying. And when it does, you know, it makes one question some things. Okay. You know, because what I have come to see for myself is my higher self, spirit, however one wishes to classify that, will tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, you're not standing for you.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I get a tap on the shoulder first. Okay? If I don't pay attention, I tend to then get a slap. Hey, you are not standing for you. If I continue to not stand for me, eventually the 2x4 is coming. That has been my experience.
There will be a 2x4 moment.
I have had several of these 2x4 moments. I have found myself laying on my stomach in the backyard, full on face flat, because I'm not paying attention to me. I'm not standing for me. I'm over here trying to stand in somebody else's lane. That's what that was. So
left your lane.
Right, for me, whenever those kinds of
a lot of traffic in someone else's lane.
Yeah, nobody was minding your lane.
No, that's right. And because I wasn't minding my own lane, I ended up flat on my face. You know how that goes when you ain't watching where you're going?
Right.
Standing for your own self, whatever. My crown is trying to, for my batteries for my crown is trying to slip down the back of my shirt there, so I'm trying to keep that from happening. Anyway, yes, so for me, when those things happen, I want to, because I heard somebody say, okay, yeah, well, it's hard to, you know, look at things when you're in the gutter looking up at the top of the daylight, but that's exactly for me.
Yes.
Anyway, that's for me.
It
when
is
I,
hard. And there's, you know, having spent many a time of my, in this environment, 56 years in below the gutter, way down below the gutter.
right?
Yeah. And that's part of the process. That's part of coming back into the totality of you. That's part of remembering, you know, in all sorts of ways. There's lots of ways you can categorize it, depending on what your mission was, missions with lots and lots of S's, you know, as you're coming into this and all that kind of thing. And because you're not small, you know, and because I want to speak about it linearly for a moment. So think of something. Hey, you need to stop that. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. While you're looking around for that, BZ, somebody just asked another question that I feel not in our chat, because there are 6 folks watching. CC says hello, but I also wanted to say that somebody asked a question in regards to, oh, well, it's gone now. Sorry. It's completely gone. It'll come back around again. Ask it again and I'll pick it up.
Okay.
Sorry, BZ, go ahead.
Um,
Now I probably messed you up now too, didn't I?
Yeah, let's see if I can pull it back. So I wanted to, where I was going was I wanted to talk about this in a linear way for a moment. Because I know that a lot of times people will they're either fully ensconced in playing small, and perhaps then another range for them might be, you know, looking way up there, thinking about the possibility, potential of, hey, maybe there is something more, they're a little bit bigger. And when there's, well, I wouldn't, you know, a common frame, well, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't set that. And so there's just one linear piece, which is very small and, you know, galaxies wide at the same time. When the truth of who we are, the truth of each one of us, of the beings, aside from the fact that there's tremendous beauty and brilliance and love, and each is so vivacious and so talented in all sorts of myriad of ways, things that you haven't even conceived of as talent, you know, in this environment. But coming to a place like Earth, coming to the whole situation in general, to a place like Earth, and an embodiment to Earth. So a place like Earth, yes, but to Earth, to Gaia, to this particular point in all of Source's multiverses, is very unique and not for everyone. And there's no mistake that you're here right now. And to take all of what I just said, and for these particular moments right now, in the intersections of all that is, because there really isn't time, but in the intersections of all of the expansion points of all that is right now. So again, to say linear, in this moment in time, to come on this Gaia planet right now, right? There was and is standing room only. And it was a great honor and a delight, and people were jonesing and excited and fired up, and they could not wait to get here. Because, many things, but the couple I want to highlight, because this is is a singular moment that changes everything in all of Source's multiverses. Everything, every planet, every sphere, every dimension, every level, every density, everything. It's a good word, kind of covers everything. And it's riveting and exciting. And I can't, the language just pales, does not give any description to really the truth of that. And so that's why I'm saying it's hard. It may be hard, and it is hard, because I've done it, when you're on your knees, brought to your knees about something, whatever it is. And someone's brought to kneesness may be incredibly different than someone else's brought to kneesness. And if a third being is viewing them and say, well, that brought to kneesness is a lot worse than that one. No, not to the person whose knees is like there and there. Doesn't matter. It's unique, and for you, you're the expert. And if that is, the cat's meow brought to your kneesness, then that's what it is. And because it is in your experience, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, and knowing ahead of time. So you're up on a cloud and you're going to do this life, and the ramifications of all this. Now, you're excited, you've got missions, you've got all these things, and you're ready to go, and you're going to leap off the cloud, whee, and go down. And, you're telling you, now remember, you're going to forget everything. Yeah, it's okay. And there's going to be hard stuff. Yeah. And, hey, this scenario might happen. And they paint the same exact scenario with where your knees are. I mean, like, in graphic detail. That surrounds sound and color and sensory, and they like poking you to show you that I got it's good. I got this. I'm good. It's great because I want to do this. Not because I'm so excited my testosterone or my excitement tone or my ego tone or whatever, because you don't have any of those things, right? Is off the charts. And so you go in. And in remembering that, as you pull, and each being will do it in different ways of clicking into, aligning into, coming into coherence with standing for you, that's, in this description I'm giving, is a way to help you and totally, fully lock into the frequency of remembering that up in the cloud before you came in. Because people say, well, I would never choose that. Okay, well, maybe in this little space when you are being small and not standing for you, that is an absolute, accurate, fair statement and characterization. And when you pull back a little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and more expansion, and you stand for you, and you're in the core, you go, well, yeah, of course. And so the tool of standing for you, of how to stand for you, of, hey, let's just go back a little further, and just the idea, the concept, the thought, the whiff of just playing with the idea, the thought, the whiff of standing for you, is a tool to help you with expansion. Is a tool to bring, as Sheila was talking about, someone had say, more of you into you, to coming in sync with you, to coming into coherence with you. And it's a really, as the British would say, bloody good tool, because it changes everything. And hey, it's like a MacGyver tool, because you can fashion it to get out of this lock or do this, or, get the boat. It's like automatically makes a pontoon boat. So when the river, which is past flood stage here, you can hop in it and go. It changes everything. It's, again, linear way. You might say, well, all of a sudden you have confidence. All of a sudden, you were saying a minute ago, I don't know what to do. What do I do? I don't know what to do.
I'm sorry. Right here, I got to say, go back and look at some of my very first videos on this channel to get a look at what BZ is talking about.
So it slides you into, brings you into those things. Someone says to you, which I used to do a lot, well, I don't know. Well, if you didn't know, what would you say? Now, on the face of it, observing that, they're thinking, well, they don't know. So why would you ask them a dumb question like that? Because it changes the frequency. And they set aside the not knowing for a minute, and they go, oh, and it pops up before their mind can interrupt it, before their mind can kibitz, before their mind can go, right? It comes out. So now it's there. Okay, we just did that. Right? So what I'm painting a picture of is that there's, you're playing small over here, and then you're allowing yourself to stand for you, to stand with all of you. You may jump right back out. It may be less than a whiff of a nanosecond. Cool.
Oh yeah, that's visible on camera as well. just to be clear. I want to say that during some of what you were speaking on there, BZ, I was feeling it's been some time ago now, but I'm going to link it in the show more section of this video once this live is over. It was something that I found written on Facebook, a channeling that I recorded, and it's called the Starseed Contract. And that is, I don't know why, but that came in to link that. So I want to say that here, that will be linked in the video, in the show more section here. And there was something else, but that seemed like the most important part right there to share. So,
and never has it been as easy, or another way to say that would be the frequencies. You need to stop that, please. Thank you.
Well, it just came back, BZ. Hold on one second. It just came back. You were just speaking on that it may be there for a nanosecond and then it go again. Okay. So I don't know why this came in just recently, as I was sharing something with Jasmine, because Jasmine, Lisa's daughter, is home from college for the holiday right now. And I was sharing with her something that just had come in for me, in viewing me, right? And the different layers of me. I was sharing that we all know what a kaleidoscope is, okay? We're looking and we can see all these different fractals of things, right? I feel very strongly, I've said that this is my lensing mechanism. So now I know that what it is a reverse kaleidoscope. All those fractals are different portions of me multidimensionally. There's that, really big one. But I have more of me from out there is coming into this lensing mechanism, right? And as that's been happening for me, you're right. Different portions or the larger point, I can see it and feel it and know it for a nanosecond, and then it's gone. But the more and more I do the noticing, do the feeling into, taking a moment, okay, we're asking myself a question. Okay, wait a minute. That's Pete something in me. Or I'm on my knees in the backyard. Why am I on my knees in the backyard? What did I do to put myself here? Because it's all about me in some sort of way, right? That's the way I'm feeling in these moments. So I wanted to share that visual that has come in for me in regards to what you were saying there about it could pop out in a nanosecond. But so this for me is a multiple visual for me of what it feels like, what you were describing there.
Yes, and I think that was a very helpful description you just gave. Laughter, because it made me smile when you were saying that. Laughter is an excellent way to stand for you. Excellent way to snap into coherence, even if only for a smidge of a nanosecond. And I can tell you there have been lots and lots and lots and lots of times where someone observing might say, they just lopped off your arm, or all different things, and you're laughing, like, yeah, because it's really funny. Because I'm not standing the little me, whoa, in the shirt. And yeah, part of me is feeling all of it, this kind of thing. But one of the things that comes to mind, I shattered my leg in 5 places a while ago, not recently. I did other fun stuff recently, but and it was down some marble stairs, and so it went, and I went, and I was screaming and crying, and at one point I was like, "Beast, you gotta shut up, because no one's gonna come near you to help you if you don't tone it down just a wee bit. They're not, they're not. You're gonna scare the bejesus out of them, and the EMT are gonna go, no, until she puts a socket, So it was great. So I stopped, the caterwauling, and I thought, yeah, that's a little over the top,
Well, you're making me think of what happened to me in the backyard. Like I said, I was walking along, not in my lane. I was trying to be in Albert's lane, right? And I fell flat on my face. And as soon as I got my breath back, I started laughing so hard because I knew immediately why I was on my face in the backyard.
Right. So that, both of those are very good examples. And it's something that happens a lot. I can't tell you the most interesting, medically speaking, or accident speaking, or attack on me speaking in all sorts of ways that happen, and I can take a moment and go and just bust a gut laughing, because I can see the value of it. I can see the beauty of it. I can see the richness of the excruciating pain or whatever. You bet. None of it is lost on me. Absolutely none of it. And it's all gorgeous. It really is gorgeous.
Okay, so I wanted to take a second here and say, because I heard a question about what you're saying there. And, well, how can you think it's so gorgeous? I guess it takes a little experience for me. No, if you're down in the thing is that if you're only looking at it from one perspective, I guess, isn't that?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I said, why I wanted to take it linear, speaking for a minute, to remind, or maybe not, well, it is remind, but in one's perception, it might be, I never heard of that before, so you're not reminding me of it, right? Because we're not small, because the totality of who we are is infinite. So in this nanosecond, the totality of you may be this, and this may be, all that there is in all of everything, everywhere, even though you've never heard of it, thought of it, felt it, saw it from your linear brain. In the next moment, all of it is this, because there's continual expansion. And each being, so each thread, if you want to call it, paint a picture for yourself, each thread of source going forth to know source is going forth and on all different realms, levels, densities, right? Knowing source. And every moment that happens, then all gets bigger and gets more infinite, right?
Right.
But if you're only here, then it will be a lot longer road, a lot harder road, a lot more devastating road to stand for you, to see the beauty of it. It's all creation. It's only in the linear ego mind base, the 3D density, where there's separation and duality, and polarization in the sense of real divisive, as in directly opposing dichotomous things, that there is the propensity to hold that. How can something that that I can see physically has been done to you, talking about someone would be standing over here and they're looking at me and go, they can see physically what has been done to me. Okay. And they may be saying, how can you see any beauty in that? Right. And because I can see the physically done to me. I can feel the physically done to me on all bodies. So all those things. And some moments it may be a little easier, a little harder to on all bodies and all levels and layers, right? See the beauty in all of that, because these are experiences. So that's like saying, if you like dark chocolate and you have a bite of really good dark chocolate, so you can describe all of that. It's an experience. You can label the experience as good or bad. You can label, okay, the notes in the chocolate that, as good or bad. Because if you don't like dark chocolate, there's nothing worse than eating dark chocolate. Right?
Yes,
Have you ever gone someplace and you ordered something, Jamba Juice is something that comes to mind, where they have, smoothies and stuff like that, right? And you order strawberry. So in your mind, you haven't even tasted it yet and you get strawberry. And they give you a watermelon, right? It's kind of red, it's kind of whatever, and you go to sip it and you go, now you have not really have an aversion per se to watermelon, but you were focusing, right, and already coming into alignment with strawberry. So that's a very linear example, but I'm saying is that they can, right? So in that moment, watermelon is awful, terrible. You don't want that. It's not even in the realm of something that you want. It could be disappointed. You could be angry. You could be, right? You could, all these kinds of things. And so again, that's perception. That's the flow that you were in. On one level, you could say that's something very different than the picture I gave a minute ago, where someone is observing me and observing what has been done to me, physically, mentally, emotionally, on all levels, right? Picture right there. It's not, because we're energetic beings. It's all energy, and it's just frequency vibrational neighborhoods that we then, because why? Because we're not small. Because we can then take that and turn it into a physical, tangible, real, whether it's strawberry wanted and watermelon got, or a whole body wanted and some form of torture got.
Well, for one thing, I want to say that this is a really expansive conversation, and I'm having a hard time keeping up with what's coming in. So there's a lot coming in.
Yeah.
And I want to say that, first of all, this conversation is, for me, very much a very expansive conversation, and it's actually holding quite a bit.
And this is just the teaser. Very, it's the prelim on the prelim, on the primer of this conversation, but it's a soft way to start to do that.
Well, for one of the things that you're describing here that I wanted to state full on, because we've done a lot of other videos that talk about not just expansion of consciousness, but expanding our intake of available data, because there's data everywhere we look. All the feelings that we get, all this being on your knees, if something's knocked you to the knees, there's data mining to be done there.
Yes.
When I'm saying data mining, there's okay, why did I go to my knee? It's not just because so and so did that to me. Yes, it may be true on one level, that may be a portion of it, but we're multidimensional. That's what BZ is describing here. So yeah, and I love the way Magenta Pixie talks about this, because that's exactly right. So yes, something was done to you, maybe even by another being, okay? Right. But on another level, there's a reason that was done. Something that 9 times out of 10, you yourself have set up, because again, there's that tap, the slap, and the 2x4 for me. Anyway, this has been my experience. I set up a specific set of experiences before I came in here that I wanted to experience. And when I got in here, I forgot all of that. And the little me, the personality that has been developed and programmed and conditioned from the time I was born, said, because I was told, oh no, this is the way it goes and there ain't no other way. Shut up, sit down. You don't know what you're talking about. That's what we all get when we come in here. That's the way it was for me. And I see everybody. And I turned around and did it to my own kid. And I see the repercussions from that all over the place, right? So then we got to, if we're interested in actually figuring out what it is or why we're actually here, which I was, obviously, after especially 10 years of being bedridden and housebound, something clicked and said, oh, wait a minute, there's got to be more than this. Because, hey, really? This is it? So there's lots of data to be mined there. And when we widen that aperture, and that's what you were speaking on, BZ, we widen that aperture and allow all this data. I have found, especially since hanging out with the two of you, that just widening that aperture and looking at I see that every single thing in my environment, both of you, anybody I come across, are all different portions of me communicating with me, specifically with me, for me, about me. So and helping me to remember. Now I get to choose whether I'm going to allow that aperture to be wide enough that I actually get the data that's coming in, or I could say, well, that's woo-woo, that's bullshit, and I'm just going to let it go on over there until the next time I find myself on my knees. I might start thinking about a thing.
Right. I want to throw in
what happened for me.
Two things quick here, just because I'm kind of eyeballing the time on. I don't drink coffee, but it's a very long coffee break, so.
Oh, that's right, because you're on your coffee break. I forgot.
I'm a fiend with coffee guzzling. So, don't go away. No. Come back.
It's coming back.
Well, I'll not grab them on kind of. So one of them is I was going to say no. I was trying to go for the second one first, but the first one is noticing, and another way to hold noticing. We've talked about non-attachment, all that kind of stuff. It's the way to see through the eyes of love absolute. When you're noticing something, you're seeing and encountering something through the eyes of love absolute. And it bypasses the mind. It bypasses any kind of those, polarizing, polarity-driven, duality-driven things. And no, I can't remember the other one, which was too bad because that was kind of cool. But this is a very large question, and the reason that the tool, maybe even just the alert part of the tool, comes first is it's a way to play with it. And we are in the moments right now where the data that will be coming, it's already there, but that may have the perception of coming at you and unfolding for you, and I didn't see that coming, will be 152 million times a nanosecond. And the scope and the breadth and the depth of the data coming forward and being revealed on every subject, every system, structure, being, level, and I'm talking about from what someone might hold as the very vilest evil to the most incredible bliss, and everything in between, in a full scope way. And I'm nudged here to say too that one may think, well, the vial is the hardest to hold or to look at, to somehow come around to. No, it's the amazingness, it's the beauty that it will be the hardest. Because because if you're so in the groove of being small, and if you've been so in the groove of thinking that's vile, that's wrong, right? The constriction, the duality, the swimming fully in the complicitness of yourself in all of this. And if you're having umbrage with that, then this is what I'm talking about. Finding and looking at the beauty, which will be blinding, breathtaking, will literally blind you for a moment, because it's so vast, and it's so, the scope and breadth and depth of it is so much deeper than the most vile, excruciating, evil thing you could possibly think to look at, to try to comprehend that someone would do. That pales to this. And so the tool of playing with the concept and the idea and the whiff of the tool of how to stand for you in this moment is an incredibly powerful thing, because you will use it all the time, and it will serve you so magnificently. And you are a master at wielding it and configuring it in your own unique, customized way. And getting back in touch with that right now, because we're already in the moments, but they're picking up steam and they're going to go, right? Getting in touch with that right now and playing with it right now and using it in every myriad of circumstances, from the seemingly insignificant and small to the ginormous and hard or down on your knees or beautiful or sublime, might be something you'd want to consider playing, because it's going to make everything flow much more smoothly, even in the 50-foot wave seas.
Well, the most empowering thing that I've done so far in my 58 years of life is to switch my focus from the little person in the chair, oh, poor me, this is being done to me, to being able to really have that alchemical epiphany that I am not small, that I am a spark, a ray, a portion of source that has figured out how to slow down, because everything vibrates so fast, enough to pour at first just a teeny tiny portion of source into this physical lensing mechanism. And now that I feel and know that on every level of my being, I then also am able to see where things, and believe you me, I've been in some pretty, because I know that the tendency is for folks to say,
What? Wait, you froze. Right on the help thing, or I froze.
if you're really all that interested, but abuse, child abuse, sexual abuse, husband abuse, all them kind of things are real and happen to lots and lots and lots of folks. But I could sit in that and say, oh, this is done to me and all that. Or I can say, actually, I set every bit of that up. I set every bit of that up to have an experience, to have what I am, because I wouldn't be the person I am right now if I hadn't experienced every moment of all of that. Number one. Number two, how much more empowering is it to now stand for me and say, no, I arranged all that. You You were doing something I asked you to do. So who has the power in that? That would be me. That would be me. So that's that for me, seeing that in that kind of way is so much more empowering than saying, they won't let me, or they did this to me. I know I'm making a big deal out of it, but that's the difference for me.
Yeah.
It's this very, they did that to me, and I can't, rather than saying, no, I know what I've been through, and I am very clear now that I'm the one that set all that up. And quite frankly, it was very beneficial for me. Every single moment of it has led to this moment of now.
Yeah.
And since I've allowed all that data to come in, the difference is very, 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 well, it's palpable. It's you can see it, you can feel it.
Yeah. Because the truth is, you created your experience by feeling victimized. And the universe said, yes. This is what I'm really starting to grok. The opinion that I am holding about myself is right on. And it doesn't matter what it is. And it does not require anyone else to agree with me. Just I have to hold that opinion as my own truth. And the universe says, yes, ma'am. And the stronger I hold that opinion, the more the universe says, yes, ma'am. And it's really that simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple. So by changing my opinion of who and what I am, changed absolutely everything for me on every level.
Yes, absolutely.
And continues to. The more I remember to stay there and to keep that perspective.
Yeah. And because we're not small and we're incredibly powerful, the universe, because we wield it, will bring every nuance, every power, every form of abundance-ness around whatever you're holding, whatever I'm holding at the moment. And I can tell you, it's not really serve the purpose here, but the litany of things that I am a master, particularly of the really scripting, creating things of the most vile, awful things. And the universe said, yes, ma'am, bees, we're right on it. And we got this, and we got this, and we have we got a whole band and an orchestra, and stadiums full of. And I'm like, okay. And like I said, then you get to the, hey, hot damn, I did this. That's awful. Yes. Yes, I am amazing, and I can do this. I can clean up. Now, I wasn't also good at cleaning up really right away. I would go, oh yeah, well, there went that arm, or there went this, or there went that. Oh, that's 8 more trucks just squished you, or whatever. But I would say yes, and go it the other way. Too expensive. So we all have that power. Nobody is missing anything.
No.
Nobody is missing.
Right. And nobody's doing anything to you.
Yeah, it's just a choice. That's what it feels like, a choice.
And is this a mind-bending, numbing, breaking, shattering, stretching concept? You bet. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yep.
You bet. And it holds the most incredible
ultimate power,
bliss in it. The think of the softest thing you've ever touched or petted, if it was an animal or some kind of fur or fabric or moss, or the thing that was so comforting, so beautiful, so soft, right? And then add in the thing that was the most just light and lifting and enriching and enlivening, right? And welcoming. So all the things, because we tend to go to the good easier, depending on the predominant frequency that we hold.
Right.
As we tend to go to the good as being, you know, more desirable. We hold it in a certain way. But think of those things. And when you move into that state, when you stand for you, you can look at anything and experience anything and be fully in coherence with anything. And go for a moment. I just said, you know, if you're petting a cat, maybe you had a favorite cat or a cat, or you remember cat fur, dog fur, whatever it is, you know, people pet Keegan, they go, oh, he's so soft. And it does something when they pet his fur, because actually they're connecting to more of the truth of who they are when they pet it. So I use that as an example. And when you stand for you, you have that. If that gives you comfort and it feels in a tactile way, you have that. You have a whole host of other things, but that's just a good place to start with and to leave it with in playing with this, because it's dramatic. And it's a ride that you realize that you're not small at all, and it's exhilarating.
Yeah, because that's actually a lie we told ourselves in one way, and I for me that you know that we're small, and I again for me I see where it served its purpose, but that time is over for me particularly. And it will be different for everyone. There's one of the reasons we do DIY Ascension is everyone comes at it when it's time for them. We've all set up experiences that we wish to experience. And I think there are things that, you know, we can do if we really truly want to experience ourselves on all levels of self. That's something that Lisa has talked about, getting to know oneself on all levels of self, because we have loads of levels of self. And so just opening that, well, I have always said, for me, being open to hearing, feeling into what is being said in any one of these conversations, and just allowing it to resonate within you. Sometimes it may, listen, I've had conversations with Lisa and BC that I just didn't get all the way right then. I could hear the words, but a lot of times I didn't get it. But I wanted to know, and I wanted to experience myself on these levels. And so by opening myself to those possibilities of being able to grok it on a level that I could understand, that permeated all of my being, because it is there. And I see that too, that it will, that alchemical epiphany for me anyway happens when I'm ready for it and not a moment before.
One thing I just want to add here, probably would have been helpful if I put it at the beginning, but we have done such a masterful job of exploring the depths and all of the nooks and crannies of just how far to go into constriction, into negative polarization, into depravity, you know, as a linear term and a judgment, to go to the anathema of the truth of who we are, the absolute love, and the expansive state. We've done such a masterful job and explored it in every nuanced way possible. We don't need to do it again. We don't need to do it again. We may do things in other ways, but we don't need to do this again. So as we wrap this up, not only is this, like I said, because it's for all in all of sources multiverse. So as we wrap this up, this is this is not the ending point. This is the beginning point, and this is not the people think, well, it's on the earth, and the earth is, kind of retarded and slow, and it's only third dimensional, and everybody else is, got so much more sophisticated and more enlightened and yada, yada, yada. And as you talked about, Sheila, with the reverse, kaleidoscope, no, it's actually the other way around. And so that's what I'm talking about. This is the starting point and the ending point and the beginning point of something new. It's been completely, fully, thoroughly, for eons and eons and eons, thrashed and looked at and moved through and tried on all different myriad of ways, infinite ways.
Mm-hmm.
And we nailed it.
Thank you.
We
did, didn't we?
We did. And that's something to be very excited about. And we talked about this, about, the standing room only getting here. And we were so excited to nail it, to play the different roles, to have those different down on your knees roles. And I've had them. We've all had them. Everybody's had them. And you may say, well, this is better or worse or this, or it doesn't matter. That's only your perception and your labeling of something. But we've done such a masterful job, and we were excited to come in and do that.
That's why it's standing room only.
Yes.
Right now. That is exactly why it's standing room only. And something that came in for me at the same time as the reverse kaleidoscope. That's why it's standing room only, because this is the first time that we are going to consciously pull more and more of our larger selves into
all.
You really, all of it? You think so? I'm saying that only because I have experienced myself as my monad, and that's a pretty okay, wait a minute, never mind, I just saw something. My energy. Okay, yeah. Oh. I'm sorry, I've got the visual of that kaleidoscope and all of those gazillion little fractals running around.
And why was it, someone said, why is it so exciting? Why is it so exciting standing around? Because this was the moment, right? There is no time. This was the moment for all of this to come and play out. So we'll talk for a minute, because for some reason people have an easier time and a harder time at the exact same moment. So if we fill all this depravity to, think of the most unimaginable thing squared, hyper squared, that's happened, because in doing that, it's been played out and we nailed it, right? Now we're shifting everything, and we're unwinding and unbinding everything, and it is complete in the sense that the I keep saying this, the real Big Bang gets to start now. And you bet it's exciting and exhilarating. It's an honor. It's an honor to do this. There is devotion in all of this, in every sense.
There's an energetic moving through the house right now that has caused Lisa to have to go off camera. I felt it the minute it began. We got some huge energetics coming through here. She's been having some post-nasal drip, and it's causing her to cough, and so she's had to go off camera for a moment. And because I knew it was an energetic that's moving through the house, because it started at my throat the moment I saw her begin to cough. So we've had a lot of that going on around here. That's very interesting to me, that I could tell that it's an actual energetic in this moment of now. So that's just an interesting noticing that I wanted to share. Because there's so much going on in every moment.
Yeah.
Well,
we can wrap up because I've overstayed my coffee cup.
Yeah, I see that, right? Okay, so I want to say thank you to you and to Lisa, of course, for joining me for this because it was your idea and I love this. We are trying to do more lives together. And what else did I want to say? Go over to BZ Rieger on YouTube and subscribe to her channel. And if you haven't already subscribed to Conscious Conversation Central, would love it if you would do so. In the event that YouTube, because you know there was rumors, nobody's been messed with me yet, but there have been rumors that they are going to do away with channels who are not monetized. My channel is not monetized and will never be monetized. And so in the event that you want to stay up with where I go, what I'm doing, go to ppcunite@gmail.com and just put add me in the subject line. That gets you on my mailing list. If you're interested in coming and having a conversation with us, with me, you want to talk, whatever, hit me up at consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com. I love to hear from folks. We love questions in the comments, questions in the email, however you'd like to do. I would love to hear from you. And what else do we usually, oh, there's ways to get in touch with BZ and Lisa, as well as myself in the show more section of every video that I put out. I will definitely be putting out the Starseed contract video that I recorded. That's been over a year ago now in the show more section. And one other final note, I am going to be doing some live intuitive readings today, so come on back and check that out. I do pull cards for folks, and I think I'm going to do I'm going to do a collective reading today for the collective itself in honor of the solstice. So I'm not going to give a time on that, so you'll just have to make sure you hit this notification bell. So make sure you got it clicked on your device as well. So thanks, bees. And I'm going to say goodbye for Lisa. Till next time.
I love you.
I love you too.